Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is a very special video, as you can tell. I have a couple of guests actually. This is Ken and Ashley from Sledgehammer Horror. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
These are some really awesome YouTubers who do a lot of cool horror lists and videos and fun stuff. I was on their channel earlier in the year, I believe,
Mhm.
and we had a good time. And so they agreed to come on my channel. And actually, we're going to be doing two things differently today. First thing is this is a top 25.
Mhm.
Um, and we're going to be breaking it into two parts so that we have enough time to let the videos breathe. So we're not under a time crunch. And I'm going to be uploading both videos to two of my channels, my primary channel and Horror Trans, so everybody can find it. And the topic is
Good.
top 25 scariest horror movies.
Mhm.
So do you want to go first with your number 25?
Yeah,
Sure.
we didn't put them in like an order just because it's hard to say on like when our age was and stuff like that.
We
So
just
we kind
made
of
a top 25.
right.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 25 is one that for me would definitely be super high on the list. This movie definitely scared the shit out of me when we watched it. And it is 2020's The Dark and the Wicked. Just an amazing movie with so much dread and like tension,
Yeah.
and it's just all constant anxiety and dread and fear. And it's the last movie to truly scare me.
Mhm.
Was The Dark and the Wicked. It's Shudder original, so can't recommend that one enough.
Yeah, it's definitely there's like really not a lot of jump scares or
No.
anything. It's just tension the entire time and really nothing to break it. So, yeah.
Okay. I have not seen that one yet, but it's definitely going on the list.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You
My
should
number
definitely.
five, my number 25 is a classic, which scared the crap out of me as a kid. And even though it doesn't anymore, I've shown it to enough people on first time watches that they said it was scary. And this is A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984.
Mhm.
Probably not as scary to today's audiences than it was in 84, but I
Yeah.
think it still holds up.
Mhm. Oh, one of the
Absolutely.
best horror movies of all time.
Yeah. I I enjoy that movie a lot.
Yep. Do you want to do our 24?
Yeah, actually, this is the number 24. This is where horror started for me. And it's Pet Cemetery. I watched it when I was 8 years old. And it scared me so bad. Zelda. I had nightmares about Zelda for probably half a year. And I still think that she is a very like terrifying part of Pet Cemetery. And it's just all around just being buried and then coming back as something different has always like not sat well with me. And
Having a rat thrown in the bath while you're taking a bath.
yeah, and then like church, he just everything.
Yeah.
It's just a very scary movie, scared the crap out of me as a kid. And still love it to this day.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Pet Cemetery. I made the mistake of reading the book when I was in second grade.
Oh,
I do not
Oh
yeah.
wow.
recommend you doing that when you're 7 years old.
No, no, not at all.
My number 24 is a movie that fueled my fear as an adult of dolls, especially scary dolls, and it is Child's Play from I believe 1988 or 89.
88. Yep.
Hmm.
Um, True story. The first time I watched that movie, me and my friend were playing in our yard after the movie to just kind of get away from it because it scared the shit out of us. And I fell in a hole in my
Oh,
backyard. I had to be rescued by the fire department. So I was like, okay, that movie's cursed. Let's not ever watch it again.
Damn. Yeah.
it would have been even scarier if there was like a doll down in the hole
Right.
with you.
Right.
You'd have been traumatized for life.
Um, 23 for us is a movie that's very special to me. Whenever I go on to do guest spots or anything, and we talk about the scariest moment of any movie, I always bring this movie up because it's the ending of this movie, and it's Tales from the Hood.
Mm.
Um, rocking the shirt. This is a movie that I think is super, super important even today. And the ending is a great twist. It's very scary.
Mhm.
And it's a movie that I adore. This is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time as well.
Mhm.
So we had to include Tales from the Hood on this list.
Just imagine seeing yourself in a casket.
Right.
Like that's, I don't know, that for me, just like,
That realization that you're dead.
yeah, like,
You know.
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 23 is probably the only one in this genre that's going to make a scary movie list because it's a zombie movie, and zombie movies typically aren't scary, but
Yeah.
28 Days Later was, and I think partially because it's actually believable.
Yeah.
Right. It
I
is
watched
one
it
of
in
those
theaters. And, oh,
and it to me, the scene where the dad gets infected from the eyeball is just a scene that's always stuck with me. That's such a fucking like messed up and sad scene.
Yeah,
So.
because he
He made it.
and then he gets blood in his eyeball. Like, yeah, that's horrible.
And it's sad, telling him to get away from him. Like terrible.
So number 22 for us, this had people passing out and vomiting in back in the 70s. It's The Exorcist. It's still, if you look up what's the scariest movie of all time,
This
The
is the top of a lot
Exorcist
of
is
lists.
still at the top of so many people's lists. And I think it's because it was this young girl that is saying off the wall things and doing off the wall things, and she's possessed, and it's absolutely terrifying, especially when she's like doing her weird crawl and things like that. It definitely scares you.
Yeah. And it again, like this movie affected me as a kid and it affected me as a parent
Yeah.
completely
It's
differently
like
than it did as a
differently.
kid.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of movies have done that to us.
Right. So yeah. Number 23 or number 22, we have the OG Exorcist.
Yes.
okay. Well, mine is not from the 70s, but it's pretty close. My number 22 is the original The Hills Have Eyes. Now, I grew up in northern Nevada, so this movie hit a little too close to home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's oh god, this movie's so gross.
It's
and
definitely hard to get through that movie for sure.
Number 21 is a more recent list, and we were actually scared of this movie when we watched it for the first time because our expectations were so subverted. And we were house sitting for my dad. We were all by ourselves, teenagers, thinking we were, playing house. And that's Dead Silence. I think this movie's fantastic. And I think it's extremely underrated. And the first time we watched it, it genuinely got under my skin.
Yeah, for sure. We had to play South Park.
We played the South Park
to like
get
it off our minds because we were there by ourselves.
Right. So yeah, it's a movie that I think is very underrated. And like I said, as a teenager, this scared the shit out of me. Like the idea of Mary Shaw.
Mary Shaw is a scary villain for sure.
So yeah, number 21 for us is Dead Silence.
Okay. That's on my list of movies I'll never watch. So thank you for that. My 21 is from the same filmmaker who's going to appear on this list more than anybody else. And it is from the 70s. And this is the original Last House on the Left. Now, my mom told me it was the scariest movie she ever saw, and don't ever watch it. So obviously I had to watch it.
Sure.
And when you're watching it, it doesn't feel like it's going to be that scary until you really get towards the middle. And then you're like, oh shit, this movie took a turn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And anything with SA is very hard, I think, for anybody to really watch and stomach. So
yeah, because it's just like real life horror, and that just really like
right.
I don't know.
I'm with it. I hate anything with SA, themes in it. So well, let's talk about your favorite movie.
Okay, so number 20 is my favorite horror movie of all time. And this did scare me as a kid. It's People Under the Stairs. I think Daddy is so terrifying. He's a terrifying villain. Especially when he has like his bondage on and he's going around, he's trying to shoot fool in the wall. And then you have the boys under the stairs, even though that they were really the victims. Because of like how they looked and stuff, they scared me when I was a kid, even though I wanted them to win in the end. And
you're still scared of them.
it was scary for me. So yeah.
The movie I love too. I love The People Under the Stairs. Great movie. And like you said, Daddy and Mommy's even scarier as an adult because she controls him.
She does control him,
As a kid, you're scared of Daddy.
Yeah.
As an adult, you're scared of Mommy, because you see that she's the brains behind the operation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. That's definitely a traumatizing movie for some people. I also watched that when I was 7 years old. The dumbest thing I ever did in my life. My number 20 is lesser known. And a lot of these are going to have supernatural themes because that's what scares me more than anything.
Yeah.
Except for like the two that I mentioned that are like based on real life, not real events, but real life
right
situations. And this one's called The Changeling from 1980 or 81.
Wow.
And it's got
Give it
no
some
jump
shot.
scares. It's just you're grabbing your seat the whole time and you're like, when's it over?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it just never lets up. You get to the credits and you're like, am I safe?
Yeah. The ball scene, it's iconic.
Yeah.
Seeing that ball come down the stairs, it's just an iconic scene. Number 19 for us is PG-13, actually.
Yeah.
But again, this was a theater experience for me as a young kid that
Me
really
too.
scared the shit out of me.
I literally had to sleep on my dad's floor after watching this as a kid.
This is the American version of The Ring.
Yes.
Okay.
Just a movie that still to this day, it's not as effective today because VCRs and stuff aren't as prevalent as they were then. But even the landline, I remember calling my friends 7 days,
Yeah. Just to mess with
just to
them.
mess with them, So like that's the impact this movie had, and to leave this off the list, I think would be ludicrous. So definitely got to put The Ring on this list.
Samara.
Oh, the hair over the face,
and the way their faces look after she gets them.
One of the best jump scares of all time. I saw her
and then
face,
you get that like
and then just
shot.
the quick shot with the music getting loud, like
yes, and her face
timing.
is all like jacked up. Yeah,
perfect timing. Great jump scares, and I'm not a guy that I hate jump scares. I think they're cheap, but I've
done right, and they actually
like this one.
Yeah,
this one was done very well. So, The Ring for us comes in at number 19.
Okay. True story. I saw The Ring 3 times in theaters, back to back. And
so
it's one of the reasons why I became a journalist, because I was like, yeah, if you get to fight ghosts, that seems like a pretty cool job.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My number 19 is also PG-13, but there is a unrated version that nobody's seen because the PG-13 version's effective enough. And it's Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell, which is scary, terrifying, and gross as fuck. He knows how to hit the notes.
And that movie, one of the best endings in horror history, in my opinion. And Justin Long is so good in that movie. And you have the point of, when the anvil falls on her and the eye pops out. Like, it's so slapsticky and scary.
You have that that is like talking. Yes.
Again, it's so slapstick, but it's scary at the same time. It's definitely Sam Raimi.
Absolutely.
And one thing I love about it is, as a horror movie, it's pretty rare. There is no hero in that movie. They all get what they deserve. Everybody.
Yes. Everyone in that movie sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Number 18.
Our number 18 is Sinister. And again, they're one of the jump scares in this movie. It's
my favorite of all time.
I know it's coming and I still jump every single time. That's how good.
Talking about the lawnmower.
The lawnmower jump scene. Yeah. Where it's just like there's nothing for however many minutes, and then you get that jump scare. Yeah, it freaks me out.
I agree. I love the one from The Ring, obviously, and we're gonna talk about a couple more because I'm not a big jump scare guy. I've already said it 1,000 times, but this is my favorite one of all time.
And
it's so damn good.
I think Bagul, he is a scary villain too, because he uses like the innocence of children to get to their families, and just all of like the 8mm movies that are on there are terrifying, what they did to their families. And it's like, these are innocent children. And
and not just that, but when you start to learn the behind the scenes stuff and how practical they did everything,
like the pool where
they were really tied down to lounge chairs and pulled into the water,
and like people would bring them down
oxygen and it was all practically done. So like that to me makes it even scarier.
There's no way. I'm gonna breach my contract because you're not doing that to me.
So 18 for us is Sinister.
Yeah.
All right. Now my 18, some would argue, isn't even horror. It's probably more sci-fi thriller. But those people can eat shit unless you're one of them. I'm sorry. It is Michael Crichton's Sphere, and what got me with this one is two things. One, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, it gets in your head and you don't know what's real and what's not. And two, I'm claustrophobic as fuck, and this is a claustrophobic movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
it's a hard watch, and I read the book too, and it was a tough read.
I bet.
Well, I agree with Ashley. I think horror is what you make it.
Yeah.
Because we have a couple of movies on here coming up, especially our number 5. A lot of people say is not a horror movie, and I think it totally is.
It totally is a horror movie.
I agree. But coming number 17, one of the very first times I can ever remember being scared, Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back.
Mhm.
It's a made-for-TV movie.
Very underrated movie.
Oh, so underrated. And when you have that moment of him watching himself on TV and then it turns it, run, Jimmy, run! Like that
Mhm.
whole part to me was just like,
Or even the
so-
greasers when they like change their face.
yeah.
That
Why are we doing the face? We must be bored,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, it's a movie that it's one of my favorite movies. It's a movie I would love to see remade today for the big screen, since all we ever got was the made for TV version. But yeah, number 17 for me, which you can watch for free on YouTube.
Mhm.
Sometimes They Come Back.
Okay. My number 17 is one most people have never heard of, or if they have, they just dismiss it. But I'm a big fan of haunted house movies, and I read the original Amityville horror book when I was in first grade because I was into horror. But the scariest one in the franchise, in my opinion, is Amityville Dollhouse, and I just don't know why that one got to me when the rest of them were just kind of blah.
Mhm.
Isn't that the third one or the fourth
Yeah,
one?
I remember.
I think it's like 5 or 6, actually.
Okay.
I remember going to the movie store and picking that out when I was a kid. Yeah.
I like a lot of the Amityville movies, so I
There's
can mess with
so many now. There's
Yeah.
like Amityville in space.
the Amityville Karen.
Yeah, there's like it's just silly ones. There's so many.
I
It's
tried
like,
to make a list, but Wikipedia, it's like this long, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
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 It's a haunted house. Slap Amityville
Yep,
on there.
yep. Whatever you're doing, just put Amityville on there. It'll
Yeah.
work. Number 16.
Our number 16, I went and seen this in the theater with my son. And
I didn't. I was not invited to this one.
yeah, no, we had a little mom Sunday, and the entire time it had my anxiety going, and it's Invisible Man from 2020. Just the pure fact that you have no control over yourself, that he can control you even though you can't see him, and it looks like you're the crazy one. Like, I don't know, something about that just freaked me out. That
The performances were
nothing
so good.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. You're not safe anywhere, not even in public, because what he did with the knife and it
At
hurts
the
his
dinner.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they did it well for being a remake of a Universal movie. I thought they did the idea
Yeah.
that Lee Winnell had to do it. I thought it worked really, really well.
It
It
did.
really fit with today's technology and how fast they want technology moving. So
Mhm.
yeah, great choice for us, I guess. Even though that was kind of your choice.
You're like, kudos to us.
Yeah, good job, us.
My number 16 is I think, looking at my list, the first Stephen King movie to pop up on the list, and probably not the scariest Stephen King movie, but as someone who has been bit by dogs more than once, Cujo just does it for me.
Yeah.
I just can't watch that movie without taking a break. And I'm one of those rare weirdos who's like, just shoot the damn dog already, please.
I think Cujo's an exception to that
Yeah.
rule. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Dog's scary as hell.
He is.
Actually, I think number 15 might be our newest movie on the list. That's Smile.
Yeah.
As someone that's battled anxiety and depression their whole life, this movie really is a very good way of showing that
What
manic,
they're going through,
right,
that they
and how
feel
everybody thinks,
alone.
right.
The constant feel of dread. This is another one. We get scared by movies that
don't have jump scares.
that are just like a constant like dread, and there's no
The only real
break.
jump scare in this movie that I could think of, you had the cat
glass
one.
where she's in the kitchen.
No, I thought the one where she's at there, but we seen it in the trailer where her
Oh.
sister walks up to the door and you see the head fall.
Yeah, but there's the one in the kitchen
with
too.
the cat,
Yeah.
the glass. Yeah, that's the only other one. But like I said, overall, this was just dread constantly all the way through, and that's what rocks me. And like I said, the feeling of watching someone that's going through like a manic or anxiety, like that's something to me that's so, because it's real. It's real life for me, every day. So yeah, for me and us together, I keep saying me out of habit, but for us,
Me.
I know number 15 is Smile.
All right. I haven't seen it yet, so hopefully it's on the list.
I liked it a lot.
Definitely check it out.
My number 15 has already been on your list, and it's another Stephen King. This is Pet Sematary, which I find a little scarier than Cujo, especially when you've got the like you said, the aunt or sister or whatever, and the dead guy walking around just popping up in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the day, and I'm like,
Victor.
dude, go away.
That's what made me. I don't know if you've seen 2019, but the lack of Victor bummed me out
Yeah.
so bad.
Victor was such a huge part of the original, and his lack of character in 2019 really held that movie down.
It did, yeah. I was bummed after watching that in the theater.
Yeah.
What number are we on now?
We are
14?
on number 14.
So our number 14 is Host, and this is actually it's done so well. Like it's completely over like we are right now. And it still scares you. Like there's still that anxiety there. Like
This has been called one of the scariest movies of all time.
because it's so real. It's
Yeah.
like what's behind you? What do you see? Like if I seen someone behind you right now, I'd be like, get out.
And
of the house.
their use of filters
Yeah.
throughout. Like it's a very good movie. You know,
For just being what it is.
right, a
and
seance gone wrong
Yeah.
through Zoom.
They put this all together during the pandemic,
Yep.
and they did a really great job.
Love this movie.
Mhm.
Love this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our number 14.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do my number 14 and then we'll take a break and come back for part 2.
Sounds
So
good.
Sounds
my
good.
number 14 did not see this when I was a kid. Probably would have been scarier had I done so, but it still scares me. And the thing that really scares me more than anything is the makeup in this movie. And this is the original Evil Dead. And I couldn't lock down what year it came out because the internet doesn't seem to have a consensus.
Mhm.
But sometime in the early 80s, allegedly.
Mhm.
And I would say very low budget, obviously, and kind of not so much jump scares, but kind of like, it's just the makeup, just when they turn from normal to demon, and then, when they're playing with you and you don't know, are they cured? And then they're back to demon again. And you're like, oh, dude, I didn't expect that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
my number was it 14 was the original Evil Dead.
Nice.
Perfect.
So once again, thank you all for being on the show, and we'll be right back, everybody, with part 2.